Moon gang. Hello. Whoa there, partner. We are zoomed out. All right, let me get connected to NASA here so we can all talk with each other. Oh, that's sounding good. That's crisp. That's some crisp audio right there. Hello. I hope everyone is having a fantastic, Wednesday, September 29th. I don't know if it's your morning, evening, afternoon, night. I have no idea what time it is, but I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic one. Of course, it's another beautiful day to be an ape. As I tweeted out this morning, good morning to everyone who isn't trying to gaslight the entire retail trading public. I find it absolutely insane. Of course, I'm referring to, I think they're just melting down over there at Citadel. I mean, if you have not checked out the Citadel Twitter page, it is the best, by far, the best entertainment I think I've had this entire year. I was losing my mind last night when I was reading through it. So I want to dive into that, but quickly, let's just go over some other things so we all have a little bit of a foundation for today. So NASDAQ set to rebound from the 2.8% drop as bond yields moderate. So really remember, as bond yields go up, as the yield goes up, bonds themselves go down. And there's a couple things to really weigh out there, but typically when you have these high growth stocks, when this scenario happens, yields up, bonds down, it does make, I guess, that yield going up, it kind of makes that more of an interesting investment. And then you end up seeing some money pull out of high growth things, such as these tech stocks, hence the NASDAQ, just so you can start piecing that a little bit together in your own mind. Biden digs in on a $3.5 trillion plan to shut down and debt default loom. So he met with two holdouts, the Democrats, yesterday. Progress on the Democrats' budget measure could determine when the House votes and the Senate pass the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Also hanging in the balance is the immediate need to refund the federal government beyond Thursday's fiscal year end to avoid shutdown and to raise the nation's debt ceiling in coming weeks to avoid a default. So that's tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday. That's the fiscal year end to avoid the shutdown. And then also we know that the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has been calling out, I believe October 18th, of hey guys, we need to figure out this debt thing because it could lead to what they refer to as a calamity. Nearly 600 United employees face termination over COVID vaccine mandate. That's pretty straightforward. Lucid begins production of its flagship Air sedan ahead of customer deliveries. This is kind of cool. I know we've been talking about Lucid a little bit, so I want to dive a bit more into this one, but congrats if you're in Lucid, basically. Elon Musk says U.S. government should avoid regulating cryptocurrencies. I thought this was pretty funny. It is not possible to, I think, destroy crypto, but it is possible for the government to slow down its advancement. And this was at a code conference yesterday. So that's just a little bit of what's going on in the world. Speaking of Lucid, though, I want to dive into this. Lucid plans to deliver its first electric luxury sedans in late October, so basically 1 month after kicking off production of its Arizona factory on Tuesday. Yesterday, Lucid says its vehicles will have a greater driving range than comparable cars from its rival Tesla. And if you look into it, it's not just a little bit better driving range. Lucid is coming in with some serious improvement on driving range. And to my understanding, that's like one of the biggest, I guess, qualms that the public has with electric vehicles. Is just like, okay, like is this close? Like how often do I have to recharge? What's the speed of recharging? So right here, Lucid coming out with higher end luxury electric vehicles and also very, very impressive driving range. As when this was written, it was up 7.2% in pre-market. Hang on, how's it doing right now? It's up 6.7. But right now, Lucid looking strong. If you're playing Lucid, it gets really interesting between 28 and 30, especially on that breakout of 30. This thing eventually, one of these days, I think is going to take some time, but Lucid does have a gap fill opportunity all the way up to 56. Just to clarify, I do think Lucid will hit that, but I also think it's not going to happen overnight. I do believe it's going to take some time. So congrats if you're in Lucid. Big fan of the EV sector myself. I think Lucid and Tesla are two of my favorite manufacturing plays. In fact, they are my favorite. Before it was Tesla and NIO, but now with political tensions between the US and China, NIO's gone to my third spot in terms of electric vehicle manufacturers, and I'm not talking about any of the upstream or downstream ones on that. So Tesla and Lucid probably my go-to manufacturers for the EV sector. I think most of the well-known EV plays will be strong plays for the remainder of the decade. Oh, and just so you know, Netflix a little bit over the overcross. Netflix is doing well, but kind of an interesting move. They bought out a video game maker. I've never heard of Night School Studio, but Netflix going for a little different diversification there, buying a video game maker, and NFLX, Netflix is up on that news. All right, a little bit different, unusual whales. The SEC just made some new changes to hedge funds, among them to disclose how they vote on executive pay, include mandates for investors to provide more details about how share lending affects proxy voting, and to make certain reports machine readable. So right there, just shout out to unusual whales. Obviously right here, we're very much into the world of talking about what hedge funds are doing and not doing. So just a little update there. But just for a point of comedy, before we get into some of the Citadel, did they block me? Citadel, what would it be? Securities? Did I get blocked by Citadel? Shoot. Nope, I didn't. Okay, so Citadel Securities having an absolute meltdown. What is their actual tag? At Cit Securities is their tag. This is just fascinating. Yeah, I need to follow them. This is by far the best entertainment I have had all year. This is so fascinating. So for those of you who don't know what's been going on, I'm assuming if you're tuning into this, you have kind of an overall understanding of Citadel Securities, biggest market maker. We're starting to know some strange conflicts of interest between some popular retail and brokerages and their connections with Citadel Securities right here. So anyway, they have not used their Twitter in about 9 months. September. Okay, so it went from January right here, not that many posts ago, and you just scroll up, January, and then September. So they didn't use it, and right out of the gate, Citadel Securities did not ask Robinhood or any other firm to restrict or limit its trading activity on January 27th. The more I thought about this, why specifically say on January 27th? Why can't you just say Citadel Securities did not ask Robinhood or any other firm to restrict or limit its trading activity? The fact that they had to clarify it on a very specific day, hey, in that 24-hour period, we didn't do it. And at first I was like, okay, this is kind of, it had that vibe of okay, we see this big PR nightmare that's going on, and we're going to try to get ahead of it. And it looks like there's a lot of legalese talk in this. It feels like every word was carefully combed over, and this made sense. I was like, all right, that's what a company in their situation could do. I mean, I thought it was a bad decision, but it still made sense. And then it got just so much better. At this point, they just let their intern from the insane asylum completely run this. So Ken Griffin, I guess, had a discussion with Bloomberg, and the one interesting quote was, "It must frustrate the conspiracy theorists to no end that Vlad and I have never texted, called, or met each other, but I must say kudos to Vlad and his team at Robinhood for their remarkable success story." To me, very, very strange, because if anyone out there ever finds a little shred of evidence that connects this, why put these quotes out there that are seemingly could be disproved pretty easily, but as soon as there's a little shred of evidence, he said, "I've never texted, called, or met." Man, if someone shows a little bit of proof, and remember, the government did take Vlad's phone, he's putting these quotes out there. It seems dangerous, but it really does not stop there. There are those who still refuse to believe an American landed on the moon. Internet conspiracists and Twitter mobs try to ignore the facts, but the facts is that Citadel Securities was the preeminent market maker to the retail brokerage community in January 2021. For various reasons, this is a very, very bad thing to brag about. If anything, they're highlighting that we're so good, we essentially in January had a monopoly, and I would argue that outside of January, it's always been basically a duopoly between Citadel Securities and Virtu. They have a lot of like uncontrolled, untapped, unchecked power. Right here, even coming back to like, oh, we didn't ask Robinhood. We totally didn't ask Robinhood to PCO position close only order AMC and GME back in January. They might not necessarily had to. Right here, they admitted it themselves that what they say, they are the preeminent douchebag to the retail brokerage community. Preeminent. That means they have a lot of power in the sense that they could reach out to these brokerages and they're like, you know what? We're not going to do payment for order flow anymore unless you like kind of help us out. It's not, I mean, this would be kind of an interesting legal case of how it would and wouldn't be argued, but this is a lot of unchecked power over all the brokerages they deal with, because the brokerages they deal with, Citadel Securities represents a huge chunk of the pie of that brokerage's revenue because they're the one engaging in payment for order flow. It's crazy. And then they like obviously went on this tirade. I honestly think it was one of my best tweets ever. This one, I was giggling like a little schoolgirl when I was making this, because just right here, there are those who still refuse to believe an American landed on the moon. And then my thumbnail creator, we already had this going, so I just slapped on this text. I've never laughed harder at one of my own tweets, and honestly, that's kind of how I view my social media in general. It's like, if it makes me laugh, I'm gonna throw it out there. But yeah, worthwhile to read because you can sense the meltdown that is happening. What else did they? Conspiracy theorists and plaintiffs' lawyers are trying to concoct an absurd story from regular way communications among Citadel Securities that brokers who handle orders for retail investors. Of course, the teams at Citadel Securities and our counterparties are in constant communication to meet the needs of the retail investor community. This is well known. I posted that video yesterday. It was like I had that out there. Ken Griffin said that himself. Like, this is like he said that in the, not the deposition, but that like the government meeting back in February. Against the backdrop of a global pandemic, amid an unprecedented surge in retail trading engagement, our respective teams made sure that operational demands were addressed and that the retail investors had access to Citadel Securities' superior execution capabilities. Interesting. I don't know if this is the right adjective, superior execution capabilities. I would have definitely gone with a different adjective there. And it seems like a lot of people who truly know about stock market plumbing would have also gone with a different adjective. But of course, they're the ones writing their own narrative. Crazy. Some of this stuff. It's... what is this? YouTube is banning prominent anti-vaccine activists and blocking all anti-vaccine content. Oh, brother. All right. So that's kind of what's going on with Citadel. We got the wrap up on the day. Now let's dive into AMC GME. Let's give you guys some of the info that you need. So AMC, they've already borrowed 229,000 shares against it. This is another record high short interest, 20.96% short interest against AMC. Utilization 87.87%. Shares on loan 116 million. So the shares on loan and the utilization are not at max values, but the short interest is at a max value. And remember, what this is, a high short interest is in no way indicative of it has to squeeze. It's saying that if it does squeeze, it just, as this goes up, the ceiling goes higher and higher and higher of where the squeeze could actually go, because it's more gunpowder in the keg of this overall explosion. It represents the potential amount of a mass amount of buying as these shorts are squeezed out of their position. In terms of GameStop, they borrowed 166,000 against it. Short interest just below 15%. This is obviously not a record. I mean, GameStop short interest was insanely high in January of this year, but recently we're definitely trending back upwards. Utilization 36%. Shares on loan now above 8.5. We're at 8.6 million. So the shares on loan and the short interest in GME slowly but surely over the past 2 weeks, definitely every day kind of, playing a little leapfrog higher and higher and higher. I see quite a few people already asking about ATER this morning, so let me just give you that. We'll just try to get some good data out there for everyone listening. Ethereum. They've already borrowed 384,000 shares this morning. The short interest is just over 30%. Utilization 96. Shares on loan 17.27 million, and a very high cost to borrow of, let's just call it 220%. So those are the numbers for people who are asking about Ethereum. What's the stock doing? Pre-market, we're right at this important level. So if we zoom in here, let me go to the 2 hour on this one. So as I had on that daily chart, we had the line where it's at basically right now. And also, this is kind of the key area for me that I would personally care about. Just to clarify, I do not have an Ethereum position, but this is the line I would definitely care about, 1120-ish. Remember, just to go a cent above, a cent below, that's not actually a breakout or breakdown. You want some volume, you want it to close above or below. That's the definition of a breakdown, not just like 1 cent and popped and then came right there. But we have some previous support, resistance, support. So these low 11s are very important for ATER. I would be watching it, especially because like when you put that together. So like I said, support, resistance, support. And also this trend line that was formed from the end of August to basically mid-September. I'd be watching this very, very closely to see if the demand comes through. If it does, the next thing I would watch is 1325 and the follow through after that. So for those of the people asking about ATER, but let's switch it over to some of the stars of the show. So the low 37s, basically where AMC's at right now, currently trading at 37.10. Resistance, support, resistance, some consolidation. This is where we're at right now. It's if you go to any, I guess, 2 hour, 4 hour, whatever you want, the RSI, the relative strength index, is incredibly oversold. These technicals are blown out. And to me, from a technical perspective, the way I would interpret that is, okay, there's a better statistical chance of buyers stepping in at this level just because it's a reversion play. And then on top of that, we're at this level. So technically we're oversold. We're at some support. I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit optimistic. Maybe I'm being naively optimistic on the day, but I just see the technicals are so incredibly oversold that I'm expecting a bit of a reversion. I'm just saying, even people who aren't necessarily in the ape community, just saying, hang on, this thing is beaten down way too quickly in too short of a time period. So I would love to see some buyers step in. RSI clearly in the oversold territory. So I'm looking for these low 37s to hold, and I would love to see this push. Like obviously the closer to 40 better, but I'm still on the daily time frame looking for this gap fill up to 44.20, which was from September 17th. Over the past about week and a half, a lot of individual stocks, AMC, GME, and like a host of other ones have been beaten down just because of what's going on in the market. Like we've seen the S&P 500 selling off. We've seen the NASDAQ 100 selling off, the Russell 2000, a little bit stronger, but still got hit yesterday. So for us, the fact that the Russell 2000 is holding on kind of the best, let's call it, that is good because AMC is the biggest stock within it. But keep in mind that the movements we've been seeing lately has not really been anything to do with one individual stock. There's just all these external pressures on the overall stock market, and obviously that is damaging to individual stocks. It seems like the only clear sector that's been getting away recently, kind of like unscathed, is more of the energy sector, and that's why a lot of people have been excited about things such as CEI. I mean, the oil and gas, the energy sector right now has been doing very, very well recently. So if you're in that, like obviously you're up quite a bit of money. Congratulations. In terms of GME, this support right here I'm watching from September 9th, this is the support from the right after the earnings announcement. The last time we were at this level, it kind of opened up there and just shot up. I'm hoping that happens again. Would love to see the breakout of 188, 190, and after that, I'm watching 200. Remember, recently, some of the GME selling pressure is coming from the fact that the shorts are definitely gearing up. We have a higher and higher short interest. For the short interest to go up, that means more and more people are selling against the stock, and obviously, we're seeing that exactly in the price action. So in a certain sense, we need the current demand to overwhelm the current supply because that has not really been happening on GME ever since September 17th. So we're looking to, I guess in a certain sense, buck the current trend and pull that like kind of whip of a U-turn and see what we can kind of get going from there. But we're going to have a much better idea of what's going on in the market today in about 10 minutes. I want to see how things open up and how the markets are just really, really, like, I guess, thinking. It's just, this is so political right now in the sense of what is going on with the debt ceiling. So if there's some major announcement, look for that to clearly sway stocks. And it could happen today in the sense of hey, we figured it out, we passed this, or there's been good development. I truly think, especially the S&P 500 is kind of teetering of just on the news of okay, are we going to fix the debt ceiling or not? I don't know when this will happen, but at some point or another, I feel strongly that this gap fill on the SPY up to 441.90 will be a very nice, easy layup of a trade. I like this gap fill. For the NASDAQ, same thing. Hang on, is it going to switch over? Oh, wait. I didn't realize that the gap, hang on. I don't know this wick was here yesterday. I thought there was a nice gap up to 367.73. I guess it already filled it. And I know IWM doesn't have a gap. So out of those indices, unless this is a weird misprint, it seems like which is the most major indice, still liking this gap fill when we see some buyers actually step in. When I see a little bit of momentum, some MACD crossover in those middle time frames, I'll get pretty excited about this gap fill. So it's on my radar. I'm not engaging in it yet. And when I start to see some momentum, obviously I'll let you know my own opinion, but these are just my own opinions. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just sharing my own opinions, my own thought process. I might be right. I might be wrong. Sometimes I get things right. Sometimes I get things wrong. I'm not a person who's a buy signal, sell signal. I would feel uncomfortable because I'm not some perfect trader. Far from it. I make good trades. I make very, very bad trades. It happens both ways. So because of that, I would not say anything that I say should ever, ever, ever be interpreted as a buy or sell signal. More of just a stock market commentary and a person who likes to make fun of whatever the hell is going on over there at Citadel. In terms of crypto, still really not doing much. Actually, in fact, seems seemingly going nowhere since September 20th, I would argue, over the past 10 days. Just not much movement, just kind of sideways, goes up a little bit, comes down a little bit, and that's what we're seeing in all these major cryptos. The sell-off, the more recent one that happened about 5 days ago, was prompted by China reiterating that crypto transactions are illegal. This is in no way new news. This is something we've all known about. The amount of times that the People's Bank of China, PBOC, has said that is it's crazy. And every single time people are still reacting to it time and time again, which I just don't get why, because they just reiterate the exact same statement. I find it to be a bit confusing, but that's kind of what's going on with crypto. Not a nice trend right now, just a sideways grind, and we have to wait for the consolidation period to end. All right, so here we are. All right, AMC 37.24, GME 180. The SPY is just below 435, and IWM is hanging out at 222. Can you Citadel, please? Not sure what that means, but I like the sound of it. Everything's sitting on 21 a week. Kind of scary. Yeah, right now it's become a very obvious risk-off environment, where people are just kind of waiting to see. They're all right, what is or isn't happening. And I think, I did title it Buy the Dip. These are those opportunities when you see things selling off, you wait, and you look for that bend back around, and that's the good opportunity to get in because your risk is close. If you're wrong and it starts if it was kind of a fake out and then it just goes, you cut your loss very, very quickly. But if you're right, you took a small risk bet for potentially you're recapturing the push all the way back upwards. But right now, this is, unless you have those, I guess, if you're fortunate to have those political insights, we're just kind of waiting. We're going to be waiting to see what is or is not happening with really the debt ceiling. So if you're a person who's tracking the overall market, that's, I would argue, the news you want to be up on. And you also should probably be watching the yields and the bond market to see what's going on, especially if you're a tech investor like myself, something to pay attention to. All right, what else do we have? Charts, sorry, we have that. I'm seeing if there's any big questions on the day before we get going. Their new leaks implying Citadel had direct contact with Robinhood. I don't know if I saw those leaks yet. Has not come up on my radar. I wouldn't be surprised if they exist. Man, it has to be so insane, absurdly insane to be a lawyer right now at Citadel. They have to just be screaming, please stop tweeting. Please stop saying whatever you're saying. I feel like they're just digging themselves into a hole. What is this? The Waltons, the richest family in the world, invest almost entirely in low-cost ETFs, but you still think you can beat the market? Source business. So the Waltons, they are big, I guess, into the Vanguard ETFs, emerging markets, VWO, Treasury, VGSH, small cap. That's for us. I mean, the small cap, that's where they're going to own some of their AMC at VB. Wow. The Waltons playing the ETFs. So for those of you who don't know what an ETF stands for exchange traded fund. And I would say the best way to think about that, think of a basket of stocks. So you invest in the basket and you get a percentage, a proportionate exposure to everything within the said basket. So that's actually what the SPY is right here. The SPY is an ETF. It's a basket of 500 of the biggest companies in the world, and you get a percentage exposure to all the things in the basket. IWM is another ETF. This one is 2,000 small cap stocks. You have very, very popular ones. The NASDAQ 100 is another one. This one has a little bit more of a tech focus. It's just another basket, and you just buy that. Like if you buy a normal stock like AMC, GME, you most likely are going to have exposure or the ability to buy and or sell these ETFs. Some of my favorite ETFs that don't represent an overall index. I do, man, some of my favorite ones recently over the past year or two have been Cathie Wood's ARK Invest ones like ARK, WQ, FG, all of those ones. But she's breaking my heart lately. She's been loading up on more and more Robinhood, and I don't know. It's just... It is truly breaking my heart. I don't know what she's doing over there, but I guess she sees an opportunity. I don't know why, but it's probably one of the first times that I've like majorly disagreed with like some of the things she's doing. And as if that matters, she's probably a multi-millionaire, billionaire investor. And I'm a person who sits and yells at a camera in my basement, so I highly doubt she cares about my opinion. So those are good ones, especially I like the one that tracks the EV sector. But she also has generic like internet. She's a person who invests in companies that she believes will disrupt an entire industry. So I kind of like that as a thesis. Other interesting ones, I'm a fan of the marinara industry, so you could track that with MJ, like Mary Jane. Another one, esports. I think that's a good one. That ETF, there's many ETFs that track all these industries. These are just some of the ones that come to the top of my mind. Is ESPO. That's one for the esports industry. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There's so many ETFs out there. If you can think of an industry, you could just search ETF like that tracks whatever industry, and there's most likely going to be one. Semiconductors, that's a hot discussion right now because there's such an incredible shortage. Semiconductors are those processing chips, GPUs. So think NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, and all those. One that tracks that industry is SMH. That's a semiconductor industry ETF. A lot of these times, especially if you find yourself, you're like, hang on, I like the market, but I don't have the time in my life to track individual stocks or something like that. ETFs might be the way for you to go, because if you're like, hey, hang on, I like this industry, but I don't really have the time to like research all the individual stocks that like represent this industry. Well, if you're feeling good about it, you could just buy an ETF that represents the industry, like easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. What else do we have? Morning, Matt. Thanks for stopping by last night. This game is insane. Micah, shout out. Yeah, so New World released. And actually, what I was learning from Micah's stream is that they were actually having some like server overload issues, as in it was so popular. So many people were trying to get on, which I just find to be comical, because Amazon, which owns AWS, Amazon Web Services, is like kind of one of the, like when you think of servers and spinning up and handling an entire, I guess like a huge popularity load, I mean, that's kind of what AWS is known for. In my previous experience of coding, when we need to like scale up to like handle a bigger database or anything like that, basically hindering any big popularity load, like AWS is kind of known to be like, it's super easy. You just like scale up. You're like, okay, I need more people are here right now. I need to scale up. And the fact that they had their own scaling issues just tells me like how absurdly popular that game had to be. Like insane, truly insane. Oh, whoa. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, let's see how we're going today. Let's see how we are going today. All right, let me go to the SPY over here. All right, let's see how people are going to be jockeying for position this morning. Recently, AMC and GME have both, you guys are well aware that they've had low volatility, but also very, very low volume. I'm looking for that to finally change, looking for some opportunities to just see where that the market is once again re-energized for these types of trades and enthusiasm. And part of the reason, I don't think this is exclusively the reason. I think some of the reason why the volume and volatility is down in AMC and GME, I would argue, relates to people are really paying attention to the overall market right now. I think they're saying, okay, what's going on with the market? And I would assume that kind of the political tensions and the political developments are in a certain sense kind of distracting people from individual stocks at the moment. But obviously all that stuff can change on a dime. Change on a dime. All right, so I see the SPY is going up. Interesting. So the SPY is going up. Russell 2000 is going down. How's the NASDAQ going right now? The NASDAQ is going up. Interesting. All right, when things start to develop, we'll recheck the short interest. We'll see what's going on there. We could check the flow on unusual whales around 10:30. We can see where the plays are coming in on Tiblio. If there's any news, White House advisor Bernstein says U.S. default is not an option. All right, no, FDA leans towards authorizing Moderna booster at a half dose, Bloomberg last night. So that's some Moderna news if anyone's been paying attention to that stock. All right. There we go. I'm seeing a little bit of green right now. In terms of AMC specifically, I'm definitely watching what's going on with the Russell. I want all this. Really, what you want is everything on the screen to go green at this point, most likely. Unless you're just this Citadel intern who's forced to watch me, basically. What was your favorite tech stock when you were a software engineer? Did you concentrate on... Oh, tech stack, sorry. Did you concentrate on front or back end, or were you full stack? So my career, I started off as back end to learn about that stuff. That's just kind of arbitrarily the position I was put in. And then my most recent job, I was doing more of the front end and kind of ended up with my back end experiencing, pivoting it was a startup, so you end up wearing multiple hats. So probably more of full stack. But near the end, I really was enjoying the React framework. It was just something new to me. So I did like that. Great morning, Matt and Ape fam. Thoughts on CEI on a 16-hour shift? Tired of working from the man. Let's squeeze. So CEI has been looking very, very strong. And it looks for... to me, the entry was back here at 170, but the sector, the oil and gas production sector, is just pushing. So if you're in it, I see no reason to really get out of it right now because the trend is so obviously favoring you. I see no reason whatsoever to really get out. The trend's your friend. You cut your losers quickly and you let your winners ride. And at CEI, it's really not showing signs of slowing down, in my opinion. Just flexing. All right, so the SPY was going up, got smacked. IWM was going up. No, actually, IWM was never going up. We've actually just had 4 red bars. I'm just seeing if we can see some buyers finally step in. Where are we at? Where are we at? Buyers. I guess they slept in today. Kind of like a midweek hump day. I guess maybe they're sleeping in for an extra 15 minutes or something. Where are the buyers? I guess. Whoa. All right, let's look at some of the bigger picture stuff right here. So right here, I would say on IWM, the Russell 2000, we're still kind of watching the support of the mid 220s. So 220.60. So what's that? About 60 cents below where we're currently at. The NASDAQ 100 in the middle, kind of indecisive. The SPY also in the middle, kind of like we just have these inside days. Remember, an inside day is when the high and the low of your current bar are perfectly still within the high and the low of the previous bar. That's why it's called an inside day, because the entire candle is fully inside the previous candle. In terms of inside, up range, down range, and outside, I believe the last time I ran the math on this, that inside candles are actually the most rare. And part of the reason for that is just they have no direction to them, like whatsoever. Absolutely. Like there's no trend, there's no direction. So that's why there's like a bit of, I guess, rarity in that. But on kind of when you take into account what's going on in the overall market right now, it does make a little bit of sense to have an inside day, because people are just super unsure. They don't know how to like weigh the risk of the current situation. Everyone's just kind of like awkwardly waiting between today and tomorrow to find out about the potential government shutdown. All right, let me just double check this. All right, now we're starting to see a little bit of a bend around. I'm watching the IWM moving average convergence divergence, aka the MACD. I'm looking for some buyers to step in. Looks like it's bouncing off of 221, and hopefully the SPY is bouncing off of 435 right here. But you can see some buyers. So I guess what? They waited the first 6 minutes, and now we're seeing a little bit of green coming in. Little bit of green. AMC 37.12. Look at that. Whoa, okay. I see you. I see a little bit of green right there. Morning apes, tried to send a hello and love you guys yesterday, but I guess I must have sent it to manifest abundance today, and abundance is yours. Shout out Kinky Kong. I hope you're having a great morning. How do you feel about Sava? So Sava is a pharma play, and I like the strength. Did it actually? Yeah, so it did do its first gap fill yesterday. I'm looking for a bit of a continuation into the range I have right here, somewhere between, I guess, 66 and 96. I'm expecting a push up, the technicals to get too hot, for it to take a breather, for it to make a new higher low, and then to gear up for a move to 115.53. I do like Sava for this gap fill play, but with that, I still think it's going to take time. This is not going to happen overnight. For all I know, it might be a multi-month play, but I do think Sava is pushing up. And in terms of risk reward, even right here, risking 50, risking 38, like when you consider a potential reward of 115, maybe even higher, hey, I think that's good. But with it, I'm always a little bit hesitant about pharmaceuticals just because I know that's not my own skill set. That's not what I've been professionally trained to do. So I don't have the best idea of like, okay, this company is going to make it. This company isn't going to make it. How important is this test? What's going on with this trial, this placebo, the FDA here, there, everywhere, that type of a deal. So I'll trade pharmaceutical, medical supplies, biotech plays if I really, really like the chart, and I'll try to dive in and learn a little bit more about it. But my bread and butter is much more of these like tech plays, just because like that's what I know about, and I've found that it's a big advantage in trading to trade what you do know. All right. IWM, it looked like it wanted to turn, same with the SPY, but then quickly smacked. But AMC trying to fight the trend, actually. AMC had a bounce off of 36.70 up to 37.30. So we're seeing a lot of whippiness at the market open. AMC has currently traded 3.3 million shares in what, we're 10 minutes into the day. So it seems like another light volume day. GME has traded 143,000. So definitely a light day on that as well. So AMC, GME, as of thus far, light volume, light volatility days on both of these moon stocks. All right, let me just fix this. Why is this not loading over here? My apologies. All right, now are we going to get the cross here? Look at these buyers. All right, now we're waking up. Now we're getting our coffee in our system. The secret ingredient is crime. Shout out Calvin. I work in market intel and pharma, all a dice roll. Shout out Jason. That's kind of how I felt about it. It seemed like a tough pick of like, okay, is this drug going to get approved? How's the FDA going to feel about this, that, the other thing? It seems like it's very, very binary in that world. Your opinion on a 45 strike, 1st of October, 47 gamble. Love the stream. Steve, I'm not exactly sure what stock you're talking about. 45 strike. Your opinion on a 45 strike for the 1st of October, 47 gamble. Love the stream. Steve, I like the praise there. I appreciate that, brother. I'm 45 strike, 1st of October, $47 gamble. Maybe you're talking about AMC, Steve. I think you're talking about AMC on this one. I think that's a little bit too far out for the first. I'm not really a fan of playing options for the weekly. If you want to play a weekly, the times I'll play a weekly option is if I know I'm day trading it. If I'm like, okay, by 4 p.m. today, I will be out of this trade. In that event, I'll do it. But if I'm in any form like swinging it, whatever time frame I think I need for the swing, I'll just double it up. The biggest issue I see with options is people are playing way, way too short of a time frame, and they're playing it when volatility is not favoring them right now. So right now, AMC and GME are both super low volatility, and it's not really showing signs yet of it picking up. So I would say, like, okay, I want to see those signs. Like, I want to see the volume return, the volatility return, and then I might be like, okay, is there like an option I like? But for right now, options, like if the volatility is not there, especially if the volatility seems to be getting crushed every single day, to me, that's not a good time to be buying options. It's a better time. Well, you honestly can't even argue it's the best time to sell, because I mean, you can. It depends on how you're doing it. That gets into like a little bit of a higher level discussion. Brent Roth becoming an astronaut. Shout out. AMC, GME, BBIG, and ATR look the same. Algo, SMH. Honestly, this is the Russell 2000, the SPY, AMC, GME. Like everything's looking like the overall market. I mean, look at GME and the S&P 500. Almost incredibly similar, like almost spot on. So this is a market thing of like how much money is flowing into the stock market, how much money is flowing out of the stock market, just in more of a general sense. A lot of similarities. It looks like the Russell and the SPY super similar today. The SPY is going for an intraday low, unfortunately. Man, where are these buyers at? Is our government saying or doing something today? Leslie, Matt, can you check or text for ATER? Yes. So we did that right before market open. I don't think there's going to be much of a change, but happy to give you the update. ATER, Ethereum, where are we at? Ethereum short interest 30.32%, utilization 96, shares on loan 17.27 million. So very, very high. Hey, there we go. AMC catching that bid, pushing 37.45. All right. GME also catching a bid. So it almost looks as if AMC and GME individually are breaking the trend of what we're seeing in the overall market right now. The SPY continuing to an intraday low, and even the Russell looking a bit heavy at the moment. Looking a bit heavy. All right. Let's start marking some stuff out right there. There we go. AMC and GME, they are waking up. They got their coffee in their system. They got up. They did their stretches. They hit the gym. They went for a little bit of a run, and now they're ready for the day. They have their life more put together than I do. Oh, speaking of having your life put together, last night I was sitting there thinking about all the things that I should be doing to better my own mental and physical health. So I ended up on a friend's suggestion downloading Noom. There's a very good chance that you've seen Noom already, like on one of their ads, and people refer to it as a diet app. And that honestly, from what I've seen of it, it seems really, really like incorrect. It almost just seems like more like a psychology thing. So I just tried it out, and I'm on day one on it. So if you want Noom, there's some sort of free trial. I threw it in the description, but I'm giving it a whirl. What I've seen so thus far, I've been on it, like I said, for about 24 hours, not even 12 hours. Seems pretty cool, but nah, it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought about AMC and Jimmy getting up together, Amy and Jimmy getting their runs in today, and just kind of really, I don't know, I guess attacking life, taking the bull by the horns. And I wish I would do that. I wish I had the ability to get up and run and be like, all right, guys, we're going to crush it today. I wish I could be one of those people. You know, those people that are almost frustrating, like they get up and by the time they're at work and they're like, I already ran a half marathon. Like, let's go. I ran a half marathon. I took my kids to church. I built an entire house for Habitat Humanity. And then it was 7 a.m. Like, I wish I could be one of those people. Built an entire house. Like, let's go. I'm on it for 12 hours and I've already lost 5 tons of pounds. Like, as soon as I downloaded the app, I felt great. Oh man, some of those accounts, like those hype up things, it's so funny how over the line they are. Used to be the shell of a man, and now have big muscles. Matt, new conversations between Citadel and Robinhood, January 28th. Check it out. Where can I check it out? OB Jabroni. Where can I track that down? Would love to go over it. Best time to purchase options is when IV percentile is low. You gain most of the money on options on IV spikes. Much further out, Vega is key. 100%. The one thing I would add on top of that, what you said, I would fully agree with you, is I like to see the bend back around in volatility, because volatility, I mean, I've been in times where I'm like, oh, it's low. No way it can go lower. And then I'm like, oh, wow, IV just went lower. So with it, the environment you want to buy a put or buy a call is in that low volatility, and then you're hoping for the second after you purchase it for IV to spike. I think a lot of people, because we're trained to watch the stocks and what they do, you're looking for the stock to trend in your direction, which you obviously want to happen when you engage in an options trade. But remember, on top of it, you have to weigh out your time until expiration, as in theta, and also volatility. I think I need to drill this into everyone's head if it isn't already a main thing there. Options, volatility is so incredibly important. There have been times where I get the call right. I'm like, oh, it's going to go to this price value by this date. But because of volatility moving against me, I end up losing a lot of money. So you have to watch volatility. It's so important. Options are a derivative class that is far beyond just watching the value of a stock. You are betting on time, and you are also betting on volatility. You're betting on 3 separate things, and that's why a lot of people, myself included, will try to always inform you that it's super high risk to high reward, because you're not just simply betting on the direction of the stock. You're betting on the expediency in which it goes in the direction that you think it's going to go in. The hedgies are all like roaches and aren't going to make their moves while the lights are on. Avert your eyes. Texas time traveler. Don't give up, Matt. You're a stonk trader. I need to do something. I've noticed that I've been working on my like Growfit winter bod now for about the past year and a half. I got a head start on working on my, back when I used to lift in the winter session, everyone's like, oh, I'm like, it's my power belly. I've been working on my power belly for quite a while now. Lots of power belly, not a lot of power. What's up with Janet Yellen comment about taxing unrealized capital gains? Absolutely not. Thoughts? So I saw those comments and I thought it was, I just feel like recently between some of our government officials, Citadel, and things like Janet Yellen, I'm reading more and more things that are just like everything is topping the dumbest thing I've ever read. Taxing unrealized capital gains is the most absurd, asinine thing I can't say ever, because then tomorrow or tonight I'm going to read another thing and it feels like every day I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've read. This is the dumbest thing I've read. I am in no way, like at all, supportive of taxing unrealized capital gains. It's unrealized. If you want to tax, I would argue that the tax on realized capital gains is actually too high. And I'm at that point in the conversation, no less talking about taxing unrealized capital gains. I'm like, whoa. Like, where does that even come into the conversation? Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. The convos between Citadel and Robinhood are on the front page of Supersonk. New pages from the lawsuit. Oh, let me check that down. Superstonk. Okay, you said it's on the front page. So I'm on r/Superstonk. Okay, boom. New leaks from the law case imply Citadel were in direct contact with Robinhood on the 28th of January regarding restricting the sale of GME. This is why Ken and Citadel are so specific about the 27th on Twitter. Reminder that the buy button was removed on the 28th, not the 27th. Additionally, Robinhood appeared to accept Citadel Securities' proposition made on... Hang on. Oops. Oh, well, these aren't leaks. This is from the law. Is this the same law case, the lawsuit that we've been talking about? Hang on, let me find your channel. So we talked about this. Let me just find the lawsuit. Okay, we have the lawsuit. So it looks like they're referring to number 453. 453. 453. Let me find this in the lawsuit for everyone. Additionally, Robinhood's Drobnik appeared to accept Citadel Securities' proposition made on January 20th. Wait, I'm confused. So this is on Supersonk and it's highly upvoted. Boom, new leaks from law case implies Citadel were in direct contact with Robinhood on the 28th of January regarding restricting the sale of GME. This is why Ken and Citadel are so specific about the 27th. Reminder that the buy button was removed on the 28th. And it looks like they're highlighting this right here, 453. Additionally, Robinhood's Drobnik appeared to accept Citadel Securities' proposition made on January 20th. I feel like I'm missing something. Do I need to read more? Exchange communications. For example, Citadel Securities, someone connected Citadel Securities blank and to coordinate the narrative in response to January 28th. I feel like I'm still missing something in my own mind. Am I not like putting something together? I don't know how that is So we know Citadel and Robinhood have been talking. Like that's admitted by everybody. Like everyone has said that. We get it. Like I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. Like even Ken Griffin on February 18th said in the normal course of business. I mean, here I have the exact quote. This is from Ken Griffin on February 18th. So, Congressman, we offered to have my colleague who manages that relationship, the relationship between Citadel Securities and Robinhood, to be here today. Instead, he has firsthand knowledge. We are, of course, talking to Robinhood routinely in the ordinary course of business. We manage a substantial portion of their order flow. So the discussion of lying and not lying is, it's not do Citadel and Robinhood talk. We know they talk. They talk probably multiple times every single day throughout the day. The question is, did Citadel in any shape, form, or manner have influence on Robinhood PCOing AMC and GMing, position close only, as in removing the buy button? So to me, and like maybe I'm just like maybe something's going over my head here. The law case that I just showed you, the Reddit thing, I don't get it. I don't get how that's proof. Boom, new leaks from law case imply Citadel was in direct contact with Robinhood on the 28th. They were allowed to be in contact with them on the 20th regarding okay, this is interesting. Was Robinhood and Citadel were in contact on the 28th regarding the restricting the sale of GME. If maybe someone could explain this to me, how does this one show that they were in contact on the 28th to restrict the sale of GME? Further, high-level employees communicated on the 28th, partly to coordinate messaging in response to the restrictions and also to enforce continuing restrictions. Is this it? Do they actually mean 455 is the one? Further, high-level employees communicated after January 28th, partly to coordinate messaging in response to the... So this is for messaging in response to the restrictions. High-level employees of E-Trade and Citadel exchanged communications throughout the 28th to confirm certain orders were canceled. So that one seems weird, but this is like an E-Trade thing. Oh, wait, maybe it's back to 452. So it's just on Reddit. They highlighted specifically 453, but it seems like these other ones are a little bit more interesting. For example, high-level executives of Citadel Securities and Robinhood coordinated communications in the weeks before and numerous times the day before the restrictions were ultimately imposed. But this is just still saying that they're talking. This is one of those things where, to us, we're just putting it together of like, okay, obviously, like, how could you not talk about some of this other crazy stuff? But in terms of a lawyer, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on it. I don't know if that's enough for a prosecutor to like run with. I would have to like get a prosecutor to weigh in on it. And this just seems to be like one of those frustrating things of, okay, to us, we're like, okay, you're talking. One of the craziest things ever happens. How do you not talk about the position close and getting, worrying about collateral and what that means for both companies? If I were a betting man, which I am a betting man, to me, it seems like I don't see a reality in which they weren't actively talking about this just because of like the insanity of the current situation. But I don't know. This is why I'm not a lawyer, because I don't know the specifics of what a lawyer would need or wouldn't need to be like, hang on, we have the verifiable evidence. Because remember, the onus is on the prosecutor. You are innocent until proven guilty, and you have to have evidence that Citadel specifically influenced the PCO decision. And maybe I'm just like misinterpreting this. People are talking about some of these other ones. Oh, wait, there's 4 images. Was I looking at the... Oh, sorry. I didn't realize there was a button here. Okay, so they highlighted a couple things here. Sorry about that. I didn't realize there was 4 images. So the first image is, additionally, Robinhood's, whatever his name is, appeared to accept Citadel Securities' proposition made on January 20th. I don't know what that proposition is, so that would be my first question. The second one is 456. For example, Citadel Securities, whoever, connected Citadel Securities, whoever, and Robinhood to coordinate the narrative in response to the January 28th. So that's coordinating the narrative of like how they're going to respond to it publicly. It sounds like 461. Notably, while high-level employees at Citadel Securities and Robinhood coordinated communications via email or via internal chat channels, the emails appear cryptic with little indication about the subject matter communicated between the participants, reserving substantive discussions for their dealings to unrecorded telephone calls. This evidence a deliberate attempt to obscure the actual substance of the communications. So that's what I'm saying is like, right, like we just need those calls. We need to know what was said. This is 463. For example, Citadel Securities, whoever copied internal counsel on emails sent to Robinhood on January 20th, connecting Citadel Securities with Robinhood, Josh, in order to coordinate messaging regarding the restrictions placed on the 28th. It's just, it feels like we're just so freaking close, like just that one little piece of evidence away. Like I said, all this is just my could be argued piss poor interpretation of what does or doesn't happen legally, but this just seems so bad for both of them, like absurdly bad. So I think this is what those lawyers will be battling out. But hey, AMC having a good day, bouncing off a 36.67, went as high as 38.11, currently at 37.78 right here. The intraday high. GME bouncing off of 178, going up to 183. Didn't Vlad's phone get confiscated? Yes, it was. It was definitely confiscated. I don't know if we have any information on the contents of it. 464, pretextual statements and explanations also support an inference of an illegal conspiracy. Jeez, that's number 464. That's crazy. For example, statements by representatives of Robinhood and high-level executives provided changing and conflicting explanations for the trading restrictions. On January 28th, Robinhood posted on its blog that market volatility was the reason for restrictions. Additionally, Vlad Tenev's Robinhood CEO told the media that the shutdowns were unrelated to Robinhood's liquidity and that Robinhood did not have a liquidity problem. Robinhood later blamed the trading restrictions to being unable to meet the deposit requirements imposed by the clearinghouse. When Tenev offered testimony to the House Financial Service Subcommittee when asked if Robinhood had negotiated with counterparts to restrict trading in the relevant securities, he stated that trading restrictions were put in place to meet regulatory deposit requirements imposed by the DTCC, affiliate, and SEC. This explanation, however, is either incomplete or misleading. Jesus. Now, I've been very much in this rabbit hole now for 2 days, and here's where I'm currently at. In like a moral, human sense, this is outside of what can we prove or not prove in court. They seem to be two different things, and I'm very hesitant to talk about what we can or can't prove in court because I have in no means those expertise. But the story, it does seem like what happened in reality was both Citadel and Robinhood lied. These are my own opinions. I personally think that it's backed up by evidence. But once again, these are my opinions. I wasn't there and I'm not a lawyer. It very much seems like they both lied about really what was going on in the meantime of like, is there liquidity, not liquidity? Why are we shutting it down? It seems like potentially minute from minute, they were changing what they were saying to best suit that current, like that minute's influence of what was happening. Man, it just seems so freaking bad for both of these people. And I think this is something that we all had that gut feeling about And now it's just getting to the point of like, okay, we actually have some legal documentation that seems to be backing up what our gut feeling has been for quite a while between Robinhood and Citadel and who was talking to who and what happened on what. But even that's exactly what I was saying this morning. That's even what I was saying this morning on Twitter with Citadel Securities, of something along the lines of the dates were it almost seemed like the lawyer was there to really be like, you have to say the 27th, because I don't know, something about the 28th, 29th, or maybe even the 26th. Why did they go out of their way to say the 27th? Like, I that's the part of this story that I'm like, it seems like a lawyer was there and be like, hang on January 27th. So I guess like as people are looking into it, the detectives, the sleuths of the situation, it really does seem like something is going on there. So I don't know if it's necessary to look into the 27th, because I feel like the lawyers have already reviewed it and have been like, okay, the 27th, we're good there, and that's why they said it. So that tells me that something weird has to be going on on either the 26th, the 28th, the 29th, but some bordering date. At least that's where I'm kind of at, like thinking about this scenario. But I don't know. With them continually talking and commenting, it just seems so weird. Like I'm just not buying any of it. I think one of these lawyers, or maybe it's because the fact that that government has Vlad's phone, I think someone's going to produce something and be like, hang on, and we're something that just kind of blows it all up. The entire situation. Taxing unrealized gains shows how desperate the government is for money. What if they tax us on unrealized gains? We pay it, then we lose the unrealized gains because we invested in and went down in value. I wonder how that would work. I mean, someone yesterday had the very good point of, if they're taxing us on unrealized gains, can we write off unrealized losses? Like it seems so directional. It seems crazy. Absolutely crazy. Do you know a Voyager and VGX token? I do know a Voyager. I like Voyager. I use that as one of my crypto brokerages, exchanges, wallets for some of the coins that they offer on it. I'm a fan of Voyager. It's not the only one I use, but I don't know much about their token, VGX, but I do know about the brokerage, and I think it's super easy. I like the UI. I like the UX. To me, it's a bit... It's very intuitive in how it's laid out, and you can easily see what you're up, what you're down. I would say, like, that's one of my issues, I suppose, with... that's one of my issues, I guess, with Coinbase. Like, I like Coinbase. I think it's a trustworthy brokerage and exchange for sure. I 100% do. But one of the issues I see with it is just, like, it's not that intuitive, because like when I want to see when I'm up or down, I have to go back and like calculate it myself. And I get why they're doing it, because they don't want... Coinbase isn't there for you to like be really actively trading or anything like that. It's looking at it as like, okay, are you trying to invest in these cryptos? So I get what's going on, but just for me and my own peace of mind to know when I'm up or down, it is easier on some of these other platforms. But just so you guys know, I have an account and money in crypto on Voyager, on Gemini, on Coinbase. I'm trying to think. I've heard good things about Binance. I don't have a Binance account. I've heard good things about Kraken and KuCoin. I don't actively have money on it, but I've heard good things about both of those. I've heard good things about Uphold. There's a lot of crypto options out there. I did not kill my wife and dump her body in the river on January 27th. I want a serious in-depth investigation into Vlad. Send in the proctologist. Transfer out of Robinhood is done. Talk about scorned lover. Transfer XXXX 4X AMC, but left Doge in 2 REIT positions. Robinhood labeled me PDT, restricted me until November 25th, and turned off my margin. Worth it. Shout out Mike. When will we know if any large institutions have sold? So the way to be like definitively sure about that type of stuff is those 13F filings. So those are reported every quarter. So that's when you would know. Sometimes they publicly announcement. Sometimes there's like rumors that run along on the tree of like, oh, I heard this person sold. I heard this person sold. But to be exactly sure of it, you would actually want to check the 13F filings and see the change from the previous quarter. Man, look at the similarities and everything. The SPY, IWM, AMC, GME, we're seeing, this is just, overall, it seems like things are just moving in unison today, like the market and the individual stocks within said market. All right. IWM pushing 220. It feels like some buyers are stepping in. Like, so we sold off, they pushed. So thus far, we really haven't gone much in IWM. SPY's up. I mean, technically all three are up because like neither three of these, the SPY, Qs, IWM, they all had kind of rough days yesterday. So we had a baby gap up relative to yesterday's close. So I just want to see what kind of momentum we can actually build here. Thoughts on GREE? What's going on, Mr. Boulet? GREE. Finally, getting a little bit of a relief. With this one, this is tough because even though it's sold off so much and I see it being like realistic, I mean, now you're talking about a potential gap fill to 25. So I do understand that it's so beat down. I do think there's time to make some money on the upside, but now I would be hesitant. I'm like, okay, well, is it going to fill this quickly or is it going to shoot up and take a while and then eventually gap fill this? So I would just be hesitant. It might be a reasonable like day trade or a couple day swing if you're like, oh, I think it's just going to push, like capture a couple percentage points and call it a day, but please be mindful of the gap fill to 25. Generation Gamble. Yeah, isn't that about though, like she's talking about crypto and like actual gambling, like DraftKings, like sports gambling, I think. Yeah, so the Melissa Lee, I saw something about this. Excited to share news about my latest project, which premieres October 5th, and I've got another one in the works about AMC more later on. So this Generation Gamble, I thought this was about like sports betting and crypto. Generation Gamble, CNBC examines social media and its influences on the changing world of traditional investing by glamorizing the trading for new generation and fueling the rise of crypto. I thought I saw something about like I thought it like when I first saw it, I was like, the proliferation of online gambling, crypto, and sports betting apps, and how the new generation is being encouraged to act more like aggressively towards money and risk. I don't like that seems weird. I don't know if encouraged. It's people. If people want to bet, they want to bet. I hope everyone's doing it reasonably. But yeah, this seems like when I saw online investing, crypto, and sports betting, it seemed to be more of like a sports betting piece. But Melissa Lee did say that she has an AMC one coming out later, whatever. I don't know when the date is. But GRE, back to you, Mr. Boulay. I do see the reasonable argument for a reversion, but I would be hesitant about this gap fill. How's LCID doing? Having a great day. So it's in that region of supply between 28 and 30. So see how it does here and really be paying attention to the breakout of 30, the breakout and hold, especially on nice volume of 30, but it's right in the region, 28 to 30, right kind of in that money zone. I would love to see a continuation above it. How's Tesla? Tesla's at 790, coming back. I still think Tesla's on its way to test 800. All right, IWM, not really moving much. SPY, not moving much. What else do we have? What else? So for New World, they had to launch an additional 28 servers for the US East Coast servers. Some people were waiting in queues for over 10 hours, but the numbers, it is the most successful game launch ever, and it's at peak 700,000 worldwide players. USWS. USWS. Yeah, another oil. I mean, we just see oil and gas doing very, very well recently, and this one's kind of running up. You have some pretty obvious resistance at $1.04, $1.19. So it's looking good. I'm not the biggest fan of penny stocks, but like it's showing strength, and it's in a sector that we all know has been showing strength. All right, is IWM going to get a triple bounce here? Look at this level. Look at how important 221.60 is. Rejection, rejection, breakout, support, support. Is it going to catch itself here? Let's see. What's it going to do? AMC looking hungry, looking like it wants to make a new intraday high. It's currently at 37.95 and we're watching 38.11. Ooh, bid coming into IWM. Let's see if this can get going. Let's see if these two are going to start cruising higher and higher. Let's see what we have. Cup and handle on AMC and BBIG. Please check. Thanks, Matt, for everything. Shout out. Cup and handle. I don't know what time frame you're referring to. Maybe the 15-minute. If it could be a cup. I don't know if there's a handle yet, though. We just kind of have. But I don't like when the cup and the handle is exclusively playing out in the pre and post market. I would like it to be involved in somewhat. So I don't think I see a cup and handle. I don't know what time frame you're on, but I'm not really seeing one on AMC. Hey, Matt, lots of great dialogue on gaps lately. Question, are gaps filled time sensitive, meaning do they need to fill by a certain time to still be viable? No. Some of them happen the next day. Some take weeks, months, years, and they don't have to be filled. It's not like a rule, like if it's a gap, it has to be filled. There are some unfilled gaps in the market that are probably never going to be filled, but the odds are that gaps get filled. But with that, you can also do the odds on, like, does it get filled the next day, the next week, the next month? Like, you can do those odds, but most of those stats that I see are not for individual stocks. When I see those stats, it happens to be for an overall index most of the time. You could run those stats. They're just not like data points that are most easily found. All right, Lucid is having itself quite a day. Lucid. All right, IWM's picking up, AMC's picking up. This is dumb. All right. I don't know why I can't log into my Fidelity account right now. But AMC made a new intraday high at 38.20. Let's do a quick breakdown just so we know the next important levels. Looks to be in the realm of 41. Maybe 39 first. So let's watch 39 flat, exactly $1 of where we're over right now. And then from there, probably 41 to 41.5. All right, I like how IWM is waking up. Lucid looking good. How's the SPY looking right here? All right, now we have enough time. Let's start checking some of the flows on the day. AMC, the bears are running the options market today, 53.8 versus 46.2. As of now, this is dynamic throughout the day. In terms of GME, the bears are very much dominating the day in the options market, 78% to 21. But we don't have much really going on. I mean, they've only traded, 13,000 options. How many did they trade in AMC? That's a bit higher, 100,000. What else do we have? The SPY. Flat, 50.25, 49.75. IWM, 47.8, 52.2. Kind of interesting. Nothing like jaw-dropping, I would say. Thoughts on GGPI Polestar EVs going public with a merger? GGPI, as in it's GG. Oh, like a SPAC play. So a SPAC play, I would say that is still very equivalent to an IPO. So I wouldn't mess with it until the stock settles. In fact, I'd actually be worried about this gap fill down 30 cents to $10. But even when it starts trading, I'm not going to trade it until it has like some time under it, just so I know like I need more chart. As a technical trader, I need more of a chart to build out. I like EV, but right now I'm sticking with the main EV plays, Tesla, Lucid. You even have some things like fuel cell, plug, like just the mainstays. Theta is negligible, more than 60 days till expiration. You want to only buy options when IV is low. So the reversion to the mean is in your favor. IV can shift too quickly to wait for a turnaround. Correct. Your image being reversed is tripping me up. Yeah, I did it. So when I'm looking at this monitor, like it's not me looking away. I thought that was kind of a bit weird previously. So I guess we'll just make this the new normal, and it might take some time for everyone to get used to, but I think it just makes sense as if I'm like looking at my monitor to kind of have it over here. Needing some moral support, remind me how bullish you are on AMC. I love AMC more than a Mormon loves a condo. And you guys know how much Mormons love condos. Can the DTC really freeze our shares until the shorts have covered because the book entry security clause? Adam, I haven't heard of it. Freeze our shares until the shorts have covered. Freeze our shares. It sounds super fishy to me. I'm going long on Dish after the partnership with Inputs Outputs Cardano. What is the short-term potential in Dish? Thanks, Dish. I know that they are partnering up with Cardano. Actually kind of nice. Like, it's not going to be the most exciting one. This Dish doesn't have a big like range really in it, but it has lower highs, higher lows. It's kind of in a bullish pennant. I would look for it to start pushing 45, 46. Potential there. It seems like a nice risk reward setup. Like, you don't have major risk, you don't have major reward. A nice trade. I'm not against it. Like, for me, I like things that are a little bit more exciting, but I think that's still a good opportunity. What else do we have? If you want to catch someone slipping, press Vlad on the block of the ones slipping are usually the young boys. The OGs like Kenny know the game. Yeah. If someone's going to get caught here, the influential, powerful, rich billionaire, they're not the ones who typically get caught. They're the ones who like somehow set it up so someone else is going to be the fall guy. I agree with you. Do the shorts have to ever cover? Yeah, of course. Like, you're not going to pay the costs to borrow fee indefinitely. And even if you wanted to, you just have to close the trade. To ever realize a profit or a loss, you have to close the trade. Taxing unrealized gains may be an attempt to tax wealthy people that use investments as collateral to get loans to live off of and never pay tax. It might be, but that's... you're, I guess, attempting to correct a small group of people when really one of the best ways for class mobility to get out of whatever class, financial class you're in, into the next one is through stock market investment. So that would just be punishing a high majority of people who are simply just trying to make their life a little bit better. Taxing unrealized gains is one of the most like asinine, unthought out comments and statements I've ever heard of. CCXI looking super strong. Really, this one is slowly but surely looking for its own gap fill up to 2464. It's a biotech play, so I don't really know much about it, and I want to look into it. But from a technical perspective, the risk is a bit wide, 15. But if you happen to already be in it, this would be my target, 2462. Matt, I'm a Mormon and I hate condos. I'm a painter and the owners are always the worst to work with. They changed their minds faster than my ex did. Night Forge, what's going on? Thoughts on why PLAT is going up? PALT. What is this? A package software. no obvious news on PALT. Hang on. Let's see what's going on. PALT news. Leading had made headlines earlier this month when it uplisted to the Nasdaq after previously trading over the counter. So it was a recent uplist, but it just seems like a lot of these packaged software companies, such as like DATChat, DATS, has also been doing well. So it just seems like the industry or that subsector is doing well on PALT. But recent uplist. Yeah, I don't see like any major announcement on it. All right, AMC hanging out at 38 still, 38.07. Its current intraday high is 38.26. GME's current intraday high is 183.46. Nice. All right, we're cruising. The SPY's looking good. IWM's looking good. I just want to see, hey, if this is what we're doing all day, I am A-okay with that. Like just a nice grind higher and higher and higher. I am A-okay with that. SNE becoming an astronaut. Shout out. I appreciate that. All right, we're looking good. I just want to see a bit more green. Let's push it higher and higher and higher. Just give it a little push. Man, GME's volume is so low, 455,000. AMC is at 11.6. Man, super low volume on both of these. Low volume, but good price action on them, honestly. I mean, AMC's currently up 3.07%. GME's up 2%. Things are up. I mean, Tesla's hanging out at 791, up 1%. BBIG 2.6%. ATER still at that region, the 1120 I was telling you about, hanging out there. If we had a government shutdown, will that make shorts cover? If not, will AMC benefit in any way from a government shutdown? No. A government shutdown would have nothing to do with AMC covering. And I don't think it would benefit us because a government shutdown could hurt the market. And most recently, we've seen the decline in the SPY and IWM negatively impacting AMC and GME. So I don't want this shutdown to happen. I don't think there's a way. It might help us. Maybe there's something that could happen that I'm just like not thinking about. But I don't think it would. I am in no way hoping that the government shuts down. Also, just because it causes so many other problems for so many people in their life. Like betting on a shutdown is not, I don't know, it's not necessarily like rooting for humanity. All right, what else do we have? Bought these yesterday. What's resistance? Lots of gap fills. DLTR, what's going on with Dollar Tree? Looking good. But now you have a double gap situation, so just be careful with it. It gapped up and it's pushing, so congrats. Like that's a nice one. But you have the gap up to 105, but now you have a gap below it. So I would just watch it. Don't let it turn on you. Activision, ATVI. Not seeing a gap on this, but nice. Like you got a dip. I mean, I would continue to ride that one out. Be careful. This one seems to be recently impacted by like some social issues of like the company and how they treat people. So make sure you're paying attention to that news on Activision. What's Clorox doing? Clorox, I like it. It's bouncing, showing some strength. Watch 172, and then from there, nice gap fill up to 178, 179. All right, we're there. We are good. Can you check HYZN and KPLT as a gap play or any other type of play with them? KPLT, I know about. I like that gap fill up to 930. It also does have some interesting short interest data points to talk about. Like, I think it's also still currently on the threshold list. So KPLT, I think, is a very viable, valid play. I'm not necessarily like super gung-ho on this being some amazing squeeze, but I do like the gap fill. But with KPLT, remember, there is still a gap below now. We still have on the daily chart. So you have this gap up to 930, which I think will get filled, but be careful because you have a double gap. One's also down to 360. I'm a little bit more bullish on it, but because of the gap below it, I'd be a little bit hesitant as well. What's up with GRE? Good play, bad play? I think it's a high risk to reward play because this is the first green day it's had. It gapped up. So I think there's a reason for I guess a reversion, but I'm just wondering if how many bag holders are in it on GREE, because there's a lot of people who got seriously burned on SPRT to the GREE conversion. So as soon as they see it going up a little bit, they might be like, okay, like just pull the ripcord. So I'd be a bit hesitant with that. HYZN. No, this looks super weak to me. Wholesale distributors, it gapped down and selling. If this doesn't catch itself very soon at $6, like it's just going to be making a new all-time low. So be careful there. HYZN compared to KPLT, I like KPLT probably more, but I have a position in neither. Hey Matt, Yellen is an ape. Taxing unrealized gains is only directed at the wealthy passing on their gains after death. Please Google stepped up basis. I don't think she's an ape in any way. No way. No way will I ever buy that Yellen is an ape. This unrealized gains thing, it's absurd. I think there's no way they're going to be like, oh, it's only unrealized if you're like in a certain, it's going to be impact everyone. She's outspoken against crypto. No way would I ever say that Yellen is an ape. I vehemently disagree with you. 21 weddings. No. I would actually, I don't know if she's necessarily anti-ape. Maybe she's neutral, but she's definitely not an ape. Do you know how much money Yellen has been paid by Citadel? No. Actually, I'm going to say she's anti-ape. The amount of money, the multiple she makes from speaking engagements with Citadel alone, the multiple that is of her yearly income is absurd. She has direct ties to Citadel. She gets paid by them. She gets paid a lot by them. She's against crypto. She's now doing this. No. The more I think about it, I am never going to ever be supportive of raising taxes on capital gains, unrealized capital gains, any of that stuff. No way would I ever be supportive of it. And she's pushing that. She's not a fan of crypto by any means. She has she gets paid by Citadel. No way. CEI, I think the buy opportunity was around $1.70. If you're in CEI already, though, ride the trend. The trend's your friend. Ride it out. CEI is showing a heck of a lot of strength, but also that doesn't mean you take it on just because it's showing strength. That doesn't mean you get in when there's too much risk. She got 200K from a Zoom call. Yeah, no way. 21 weddings. You might want to dive a bit more into who Yellen is as a person and where her money comes from. What else do we have? Can you check ATER? You're just looking to basically hold this 1120 line. I broke this down on the daily chart. We have previous support, resistance. The low 11s are very important for ATR. So you're looking for it to hold that. If it doesn't, you're kind of then watching $9. What else do we have? She also supports bank and credit unions to report any bank transaction over 600 or more. That's just, yeah, like that kind of goes hand in hand with her being against crypto. She wants the government highly involved in everything you do with your money. And I'm just never, ever going to be supportive of it. If it's my money, I understand there's a certain degree for, I guess, like just safety and legality and corruption that like, okay, we should be able to track some of the money. But the way they're trying to push the line, they just want to know everything you possibly do with every single cent of your money. And I think that's too much government power. I like this concept of trying to give the government more and more power. It blows my mind. It really does. Because like, what have they done positive with their power? I don't know. I think the current system of how they use their power to track what we're doing on an individual basis is very, very messed up. This concept of raising taxes, never going to agree with that, because all I see the government is as like, they're gluttonous, they're wasteful. I don't think that they're using my money properly. If I agreed that, I was like, oh, okay, like I see where I am more than happy to pay my fair share. They tell me what to pay, I'm going to pay it, and I don't have an issue with it. But like, put it to good use. Like, I feel like they just piss it away on some, like if you look into some of the government things of what they do with our money, I think they're wasteful. I don't want to give them more of my money for them to just waste. Like, I think it's silly. I'm still shorting SPY. Have you looked at GoGo ticker? Looks like fire. Caught it early yesterday and sold half calls. Let's check out GoGo. GoGo. It's looking very good. Congratulations. Wireless. So it's at resistance right now. Is this an all-time high? No. But if it keeps going, then I would watch 1950. So if it can hold where it's at now and keeps pushing, especially if we get that close above 1750, 18, I'd be watching 1950. Just if you're in it, ride that trend. And you sold half, you locked in some sweet gains. You caught it early yesterday, so maybe around, I don't know, 14, 15. That's nice. Ride the trend. Let your winners ride, cut your losers early. And I just like to scale out. It depends on like how much your position is or isn't. But if you're in the position that you can slowly but surely scale out, maybe leave a couple runners on and just see how wild it goes. I like that type of a play. Nick, thank you. If AMC squeezes before GME, would be a good idea to put gains from AMC into GME, or will they happen at relatively the same time? I don't think there would be a major time difference in between them. I really don't. Like maybe the difference of maybe a couple days, but when one gets wild, it seems like other people get excited very quickly about the other one. So I just don't see a world in it's like where one squeezes and like 2 weeks later the other one squeezes. This is all theory and thesis and me just like kind of guessing, at least based on what we've seen kind of over the past half year, over the past 3/4 of a year. They kind of move like a little bit like more so in lockstep than not lockstep, especially when things start to get bonkers. Jay Powell, 11:45, and Congress voting raising debt today. Oh. Yeah, so Jay Powell is on at 11:45, so in about an hour. So these statements and these developments of like the vote and everything, it's going to have an impact on the market. So that is probably worthwhile for everyone to pay attention to. Nick, CTRM. What about CTRM? Check out Prague, great option price and gunning on news, I believe. Biotech, PROG. All right. Would you say about it? Great option price and gunning on news. Medical nursing services. Hey, I do like the support resistance setup. I mean, you could risk 85 cents, so about 15 cents, and you have the potential of $1.25, maybe even higher. I would want to dive into the news, but you're buying it off of a lower RSI gap fill play. I'm not a fan of the sector that it's in, but the risk reward is definitely there on this one. Very reasonable risk reward setup. Imagine if there wasn't politics, just common sense. Can you tell us about Public? Do they offer margin accounts, or do we need to wait for it to settle before placing another trade user friendly? So Public, it has margin cash. It does not have options trading. They're about to roll out their crypto. But the thing I like most about Public, what I think is better for the overall stock market, is the fact that there's no payment for order flow, there's no market makers, there's no dark pool. This is sending their orders directly to a lit exchange. You can search it. If you just Google Public payment for order flow, Public lit exchanges, you can find it in their own documentation of why they're against payment for order flow and what they've chosen to do instead. But like, I could save you also the time and just tell you that all of your orders are being sent directly to a lit exchange. If for me, the way I view it, because I'm like a petty individual, is when you're trading on something that's using market makers, you are lining the pockets of people like Ken Griffin. I will go out of my way to ensure that I am not helping businesses like that. If you are trading on Robinhood or you are trading on Webull, I don't know how much morally it matters to you. It matters to me, and that's why I'm on Public. Previously, I've been on Robinhood. Previously, I've been on Webull. Previously, I've pitched both of them because my own knowledge base wasn't where it currently is, and I'm actively learning things with all of you. Yes. In the past, I have used Robinhood. In the past, I have used Webull. In the past, I have had both of those affiliate links. Right now, I'm switching over to Public because I'm learning and growing, and I'm starting to understand how bad market makers are for the entire stock market system. And one way to fight that is to go against brokerages that are sending your orders off exchange. I think the more orders that happen on exchange, the better. And that's why I'm clearly with Public now. On top of it, you get up to $70 of free stock when you sign up. It's free trading, margin accounts, cash accounts. Like I said, you're not going to be able to do options. They are rolling out crypto sooner rather than later. I know another one that people talk about is Fidelity, and Fidelity is not as clean as people say in some of the things that they haven't done. It's not like they have a squeaky clean record, but there is a way to get commission free, just as Public, where your orders are being sent to a lit exchange. But on Fidelity, it's a little bit more difficult, or I'll say it takes a couple more steps, because you have to be using Active Trader Pro, which is like the Fidelity Pro platform, and you have to be routing your orders to the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, things of that nature. So Fidelity, you can do free trading, and you can also send your orders to a lit exchange. But I just think it's easier on Public because like you don't have to, like, you just buy on Public and you already know it's going to a lit exchange. I get it. There's probably some people who are listening right now who are like, okay, that's cool, but like maybe it doesn't mean enough to you to like actually switch your broker. And like, whatever, like I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. All I can do is express my own opinions. And I think it's when it doesn't cost anything to sign up. In fact, you get paid to sign up, and you know that you're not continuing supporting the duopoly of market makers, which I think is incredibly detrimental to the stock market system. And also beyond that, I mean, take a look at the tweets. Look at the commentary from both Virtu and Citadel. They're assholes. They are actually, like, I just don't think they're good people. I think they think of us as being very stupid, uninformed, and they make billions of dollars off of the retails back from just processing all of that trading volume. So for me, maybe it's a small stand, my own little decision to be on something like Public. But if, imagine, what was it, on January 4th, we know there was 4 million people involved in AMC. Imagine if all 4 million were like, you know what? We're not going to send any of our trades to market makers. And as it continues to grow and grow, this, I don't know. I think it's important. I can't tell anyone what else to do, but unless you're like a heavy options trader, I'm unaware of any platform that has, in the US at least, that's options trading, like where you trade options without payment for order flow. Like I don't know of something to avoid options trading and also payment for order flow. So that one's going to probably be a bit tough. But if you're just talking about stock, and you're in the US, Public seems super easy. AMC or Tex update. AMC, they borrowed 267. That's what we saw this morning. Short interest is 20.94. GME now above 15%. The net is 182,000 against it. Fidelity is the way, real brokerage for real investors. It's of the way if if you are routing your orders. Like I said, what is this? How do I zoom in on this? There we go. Like what I'm saying, Fidelity is not completely like out of right here. Where are we at? Why am I blind? Okay. According to the 606 reports for the fourth quarter of 2020, for the following 9 online brokers, Citadel was providing payment for order flow, giving a cash rebate for trade orders to each of the following. So right here, Fidelity was just options. So I'm trying to make it very clear. Fidelity does not do payment for order flow for stock, but it does do it for options. But like I said, it's very difficult to find a thing that allows you to do options trading without payment for order flow. But beyond that, let's talk about stocks. According to the 606 report, Citadel ranked as the #1 venue for sending both stock and option orders for the following firms: Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, Webull, and Fidelity. If you're just willy-nilly trading on Fidelity without intentionally routing your orders, there is a high statistical chance that it is still going to Citadel. So I don't know. Like, I think people don't even realize this. They hear Fidelity and like, oh, this is great. No, without routing your orders, most are still going to Citadel. You have to actively route your orders if you're on Fidelity. Other than that, high chance it still goes to Citadel. IB is certainly the best for options. Even if you route out of payment for order flow, they charge less than anyone if your trading volume is high. Yeah, so if you're a big options trader, the 2 best platforms I've been really seeing are Interactive Brokers and then TD with their Thinkorswim. So either IB Pro or Thinkorswim seem to kind of be the best options for like active options traders. The best, no pun intended, but the best options for options traders. Hi, last time we were told with AMC how many retail investors was in June. As we know, when will we get updated numbers like that again? It's up to them to do a share recount. That's like AMC, the leadership team needs to like decide to do a share recount. That doesn't happen at a set cadence. It happens when they want it to happen. Sid, shout out. Opinion on VET, been in a while, looking strong. VET, what's going on with VET? Another energy. I mean, all these oil energy it's ripping. This is kind of looks like CEI. It's just ripping. This thing was at 550 in mid-August, and now it's trying to get 958. This one's at resistance, trying to get a true technical breakout. If it does, becomes a very interesting gap fill, probably a very easy gap fill, in my humble opinion, to 1154 on VET. How's CEI doing? Awesome. 358. I have it marked out. I'd be watching 410 on CEI at this moment in time if I had a position. Can you tell us about public? All right, we did that. CEI putting bears and the endangered species list. I don't think CEI is like a shorted stock, a highly shorted stock. I could check it out. Hang on. CEI. Yeah, CEI. Oh, it is. Never mind, scratch that. The short interest is 36.28%, utilization 75%, and shares on loan 42.75%. It is a highly shorted stock. My apologies. It's right now by Ortex estimated to be about 37.8 million shares short. But keep in mind, the volume, we're trading 217. So they can cover with relative ease, just based on how many shorts are out there and the daily volume. I mean, it's not even noon, folks. We're an hour and 15 minutes into the day, and how is this possible? Hang on, let me see if I could get more data on this. CEI, 104 million free float, 100%. Interesting. Yeah, they could cover. So like there are shorts that are probably losing money on this, but in the event of a squeeze, like this, what I see going on CEI is just like the sector, the oil gas production sector is doing good. Energy stocks are performing well. People are liking it and they're buying it. There's a lot of FOMO buying. There's a lot of momentum buying, and probably the shorts are getting squeezed out. But this entire movement is not exclusively because of shorts. It's that's going to be part of it. But I just see a lot of people excited about the current sector just because it's hot. It's like one of the best performing sectors right now. And it has been over the past couple weeks. So this to me is it's a momentum buy. GME just hit a new intraday high, right sub 184. AMC is looking good. I wanted to get above 38. We just don't want to see a head pattern. So let's see if this can push 38.26. IWM gearing back up. Thank the Lord. Man, folks, if I'm being honest, I've been getting beat up in my futures account lately. I got so whipsawed yesterday. It was crazy. And right now my IWM position on the futures market, which is trades under RTY, is it's down $600. Come on. I need this to like push. I've been getting so whipsawed in this crazy stuff lately in my futures account. It's not fun. Where's a good entry for CEI? It was back at $1.70 right here. Like right after this, like when it was getting out of this pattern right in here, kind of on September 23rd, around $1.70. Not now. No way. The risk reward, you're risking 150 for the potential reward of 410. For Jane Dots, PROG or text. So I just did the TAA on it. I could give you PROG, Wall Street Viking, just it looks like a gap fill play to me. The short interest is 45%. Utilization is 98. Shares on loan is 11.45 million. The cost to borrow is 19%. But for the TA, PROG, I like the gap fill. All right. I think I'm up to date there. So the real play is to buy UVXY and hold it until inflation correction. That's one, I guess, valid play. That's really dependent on like what kind of shenanigans the Federal Reserve is going to play and how they choose to battle inflation. I ducked and got SPY puts for the week, 429, 427, 27 break even, like 30% right now. Would you cut and roll puts for this week? For this week, stonks are us. I think that's way too short of a time frame. What your bet is, you're betting literally on the, like, I guess the debt thing not getting figured out today, tomorrow. That's like what the bet is. So if that one, I don't know if it's not necessarily, it's definitely not a technical play with such short of a time frame and being so far out of the money. You're basically betting on this whole debt bill like falling apart, or like the debt issue falling apart or continuing to fall apart. So it's just, to me, that's a political bet. All right. Can you Ortex NXTD? Just so everyone knows, if you want Ortex, you can get a free trial of it. It's in the description of the video. If you can run it there for like however, like I think it's a week. Yeah, it's various. NXTD has a short interest of 3.5%. So I don't think that's a short squeeze play. And remember, you shouldn't, to me, it's not a good methodology to just run around and find highly shorted stocks and just buy it. That might be a good starting point to look for it, to like kind of filter out your other options. But from there, you need other filters on top of it. Thoughts on CCXI, ChemoCentrix? The AVA drug was approved in Japan. It's up for FDA approval on October 7th. 3-month chart is unbelievable. We just checked out CCXI. I don't know much about their drug, but if you're feeling confident of it, it sounds like it could be a very interesting opportunity. Good morning. All right, what else do we have? The thing I like about Prague is the 1.5 October strike is still 3 cents. If we get any kind of volatility run, they should print. Risky AF, not advice. Shout out Wall Street Viking. Shout out. All right, folks, quick coffee break. All right. IWM, what are you doing? $222.50. The SPY double triple rejection at 437 flat. All right, 437. AMC looking good. We have like a very mini bull pennant going on. I could show this better in the 1 minute. Oh, sorry. I could show this better on the 1 minute. So right here, it shoots up, lower highs, higher lows. Let's see how this plays out. But a little mini 1 minute bull pennant. So what I'd be looking for is for it to get above 38.10. And if it does, I'd be looking at the test and push for a new intraday high. All right, sweet. So we're kind of looking good. I just want to find out about the vote and everything. All right. Where would I find out the news on this vote? Senate may vote Wednesday on bill to prevent a government shutdown as deadline approaches. The Senate could vote as soon as Wednesday on a bill that would prevent a government shutdown, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said. The legislation would fund the government into early December and provide money for hurricane relief and Afghan refugee settlement. Congress has to pass a funding bill before midnight Thursday to avoid a shutdown. Lawmaker will have to separately raise the U.S. debt ceiling before October 18th to prevent the first ever default. You know what I don't get? And I don't know, maybe I slept too much in my government class. Maybe I didn't pay attention in civics enough. But right there, what I just read to you, the Senate could vote as soon as today on a bill that would prevent the government shutdown. Okay, that seems great. The legislation would fund the government into early December and provide money for hurricane relief and Afghan refugee resettlement. Why? Why are those not three individual things? Like, what's with attaching things that have no relation to each other? Funding the government, hurricane relief, and Afghan refugee resettlement. Why can't those be individual votes? That's the thing that drives me up the freaking wall. And maybe I'm just maybe I've eaten too many crayons to understand it. But why? Why? Well, why? W-H-Y. Why do they put unrelated things together in one singular vote? Vote on them they're there. Be like, hey, we're voting on Bill 1. Okay, now we're voting on Bill 2. Okay, now we're voting on Bill 3. Why are there completely unrelated things? Why does our government run that? Do other governments run that way? Why? And this kind of relates to like when they vote on things and you hear these crazy stories of the bills there, it's 500 pages and they have to vote on it the next day. Like, we know they're not reading that. They know they're not reading that. They've all publicly said they don't read it. If you're given 500 pages to vote on something the next day, why can't our bills be like at max, like 3 or 5 pages? They have to be concise. They have to be a specific thing. And then we vote on it. Who was the Nimrod that come up with the fact that we're just going to put 18 million different things in one bill? That it seems so dumb. It seems so stupid. Why not? You vote on one thing. It has to be a concise, related effort. You vote on that. You can't vote on like all these wildly different things because like what they do, and they do this to both sides, they make one side look bad because of like the name of the bill. And they're like, well, you didn't vote on this. You shot this down. It's like, well, no, I actually support that. But all these other like the pork barrel in it, I didn't agree with that stuff. And then like people get blasted on social media. It's like this is exactly why they should only vote on one concise thing at a time. You know why those bills don't pass on their own? I mean, it probably is. They're trying to like just sneak things in, like, which is so dumb. Thoughts on VIX puts? I got some 10-20s. So VIX puts, so you're betting on the market returning by the end of October. I mean, that could be a very good play depending on how this debt thing goes. If the debt thing goes the way that it most likely will go, as in like they take care of it, we raise the debt ceiling, they take care of the funding, blah, blah, blah. If they take care of that, the market's going to continue upward and then your VIX is going to go down and you're going to make money. ATER or text. So we checked, it's still sky high short interest. It has like all those numbers it still needs. But for ATER, it's at 11.12 right now. I would highly prefer it stay above 11.20 and definitely above 11. If it breaks up below 11 on volume and closes above 11, that's opening up the door of a flush down to 9. So ATER is at the teetering point right now. It's because they can't get the individual items passed separately. They have to attach pork to the bill that must pass. Like, and then that tells me that they shouldn't be able to do that type of bullshit. Like, I just don't know why, as the global public and specifically the U.S. public, like, why are we accepting of that? Like, right here, I get it. It's all for the pork barrel. And they're like, well, this is how we get these like little obscure things passed. Well, maybe if you have to attach it onto something where people are almost like forced into accepting it just because of the other things of the bill, maybe those things shouldn't be passed. Like, I just, it blows my mind. I don't think a bill should be there should be a rule. A bill cannot be more than, 5 pages. If you cannot explain the bill within 5 pages, something that all the politicians and the public can read easily without much effort, so we're all on the same page, it should not be a bill. That's what I would do. That's my first move as president, which I would never run for, is no bill is more than 5 pages. And if it's not related, if there's no relations to the various things being on, it would have to be a separate bill. That's first thing I would do. They do multiple bills so they can throw in one bill that they know the other side doesn't want, so the other side gets to vote against the bill and looks bad. Yeah, and it's like a petty middle school game of like making the other side look bad. It's the dumbest game of political gridlock. It's absurd. Absurd. They want to waste paper. All right. Right now, we're kind of stalled out in the middle. AMC is at 37.70. GME's at 182.30. The SPY's looking strong. Looks like it wants to hit 437 once again. IWM also kind of in the middle at 222. No one knows why, but it's provocative, gets the people going. Gets the people going. Where are we at? No. All right, we don't need this. And then finally, let me just double check everything that is happening. All right, we are all good there. All right, perfect. This is crazy. These telemarketer crap. Somehow I just got a like a telemarketer phone number thing that like texted me and just a crazy looking account. This is like the next level stuff, like these spam attacks, and literally the message of it in all caps was sell AMC. So even that, like, how do they track down the information of like to even message you? But then specifically that they're in this world, like I don't know who's running the initiative, but there is clearly an initiative of bots. Like someone is coordinating a network of bots to try to message people. And we've seen it I just got a message from some bot account saying to sell AMC. We've seen all the fake accounts on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit. I don't know who is, I guess, supporting this effort, but there's clearly a supported effort to try to get people to sell this, which is just ridiculous. What's with CEI's history? It traded at thousands per share. Can it return to that? No. That guy, it never actually traded there. That was a stock split, basically. Not basic, like exactly. You have reverse splits, and that's going to make the chart look really weird. Your chat is full of R's versus D's. F all politicians. But with that, that's so frustrating because to me, like I get there's a good chance there's 11,000 people in here, so that means that there's roughly 5,000 Republicans, probably 5,000 Democrats, or maybe 4 and 4, and then 2,000 people that like just couldn't give a shit. With it, that this is what they want. This is what our politicians want. This is what our Wall Street wants. They love to divide because it's easier to take out different groups. So very seriously, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, like let me take the argument that you are extremely one of those people. You're like, let's just say you are a red-blooded Republican or a blue-blooded Democrat, and you absolutely hate the other side. Think about this. The people who you vote for and the people who you support, you have less in common with them than the other random people in this chat that you hate. You really, the other random person who's on this YouTube stream who's just trying to make their life a little bit better. And yeah, you might differ on like maybe some like moral or specific issues, like of just like whatever this or that, you have your opinion. You have a lot more in common with that person than you do the politician that you are just like supporting. Trust me, these politicians, a high majority of them are multimillionaires who use their position to gain power because they're egomaniacs. They use it to line their pockets. And when they get out of the system, they use it even more. Do you know how much the financial situation of any president improves left, right, in the middle after their presidency? They have all the charts of it. Like this is stuff that you can easily track down. All of them amazingly go from a multimillionaire to having even more multi-millions. I hate how they try to divide. And that's what this is like through media and other tactics. If you're left or right, they try to get you to hate the other side because that means that they can easily secure your vote. They want to diminish the ability of critical thought where you actually have to dive in and discuss every individual issue, and they love it. It's just easy. It's like, oh, well, there's more Democrats, so if I just identify with a Democrat, then they're going to get me. Or if there's more Republicans, okay, great, I'm going to get the Republican vote. Every single election cycle, we are slowly and surely getting away from critical thought, and they just bucket you. It's identity politics, and it's bullshit. They don't want people to think. They want you to think that like if you're right, you have to deal with all this. If you're left, you believe all this, and they just pander to those two groups. And they don't want anyone to actually think on their own or somehow be like, oh, I'm a little bit agreeing with this, a little bit agreeing with this. And that's sad because I think that's where a majority of the people are. I would argue that a high majority are somewhere in the middle that have scattered thoughts between the two, but they act as if everyone is on the extreme because that's media, the people who are pushing it, that's the business they're in. They get paid for advertisements, so they say the most clickbaity, enraging, emotional things to get everyone to read to it, and it highly skews where I think the average person is at, and I don't know, it's messed up, and now we're almost starting to see it pour over into our very specific world of the ape community. We saw dipshit Charlie yesterday trying to say that the whole payment for order flow is like a Democrat ruse, and they're comparing it to North Korea. I mean, right here, they're like, it's 50-50 in here. Like, I would assume our numbers are 50% Republican, 50% Democrat, and the Republicans in here they're not supporting payment for order flow. There's a very good chance if you're watching this and you identify as a Republican, probably 5,000 people in here, that you're like, no, I think payment for order flow is stupid. But that's exactly what the media does. They're like saying, oh, no, like what? You want us to be like North Korea? Like, what kind of bullshit is that? And then you're going to see it on the other way too. Like, at first, it was Charles Payne making money. Fox, he was the first person to give our community a voice when I was able to speak with him in June. And you know who was against us? CNBC, Andrew Sorkin. Like, it's all bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And that's where we're at right now. That's what I'm saying. No longer a Democrat or Republican. I'm an ape. It's just the people, and I get it. Like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion, and I wish more people were more informed of what was truly going on in our political system. But I would bet any amount of money that whatever side of the aisle you identify to be on, if you're in here and there's someone on the other side of the aisle, you have far, far more in common than like the politicians that you support. Why does utilization rate go down? I'm curious and confused. Love your channel as always. Shout out. So utilization is the amount of shares on loan divided by the total loanable shares. So X divided by Y. So even if X goes up, the shares on loan, the utilization could drop if the amount of shares that could be loaned, the total loanable shares, goes up by a greater magnitude. You have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. Nancy Pelosi. Get your news from the middle. Associated Press or Reuters is best in my opinion. 80 Ad Fontes Media. Ad Fontes Media. Get your news from... I haven't heard of that website. I'll check it out. Oh, already past 11. What a day. What a day. What a day. So right now, AMC support. Once again at support of 37.50. It's up 1.5% on the day. GME's at 182.50, up 2%. CEI is up 9% on the day. ATER broke down below 11. That means it's in the danger zone, folks. Be careful. Mind your risk. This is exactly why you have risk and reward tolerances. So be careful with ATR. I don't know what your risk is, but like pay attention to it. If it hits your risk, gotta pull the ripcord. That's exactly why you have risk. I don't think there's necessarily a perfect risk level. We all have different risk tolerances. So whatever yours is, make sure you're actually adhering to it. I heard you talking about me earlier. I'm going to swat you, and the people wearing diapers and shooting mayo guns will steal your Cheez-Its. Walmart, Tennessee, Griffin, what's going on? Robin, you missed my last shot. Oh, I'm sorry. That just was to the moon. Shout out, Robin. Shout out, Robin. What else do we have? What are we doing right here? Let's check. Before I go for the morning session, let me check this out very quickly. AMC, they've borrowed 652,000, short interest record high, 21%. GME, they borrowed 182, still right above 15. Crazy. Oh, before I go, I think I forgot to ask. If you haven't already, I would appreciate if you could destroy that like button. It does help me out with the algorithm. Completely free. Same with subscribing. If you like this type of content where we talk about stocks, options, futures, and I go on rants and talk about, I guess, whatever is going through my cranium at that time. If you want to be a part of the Moon Gang, all you have to do is subscribe, follow if you're on Twitch, sub if you're on Rumble. All that stuff is completely free. It's really the only thing I ask for. The support, it helps with the algorithm of whatever the social media is, and it helps promote it to other people. If you want, you could turn on your notifications so you don't miss any new pieces of content. Trey and I have recently been talking, and we feel that like our content is definitely being stymied. If you look at both of our views, clearly going down, and just the amount of impressions we're getting in the back end, social media is doing something that our content is just like, it's really not getting out there. So we're doing our best to fight back against it. I'm getting some reports from people on YouTube that they're, without them knowing, they're being unsubscribed. So if you want to be subscribed, just double check that you actually are. I'm getting a lot of messages like over the past couple days, a couple hundred people have messaged me like with screenshots. They're like, dude, I never unsubscribed. What's going on here? So it might be worthwhile to double check. In terms of YouTube, don't forget, it's in the description of the video, but there is that backup channel, Kohrs Light, where I just post some of the rants and, I don't know, killing some zombies and just other random pieces of content. I no longer identify with a party. I think we are in a time where we just need to identify as Americans because both sides are trying to divide us. I am with Joe Rogan. We need to protect our freedoms at all costs. Happy birthday, Matt. This has been on my mind for the past week, and I just need to get it out. I thought of the greatest YouTube channel name for a girl who also reports on the market, Chicks and Sticks. All right, that's pretty funny. So if there happens to be a female in the audience who's looking to make a YouTube channel based on stock markets and basically technical analysis in that, Chick and Sticks. Or if there's two girls, chicks and sticks, that's pretty funny. I like that. That's really funny. All right, where are we at? AMC 3740, green on the day. Green is good. GME 180, 150. The SPY kind of flat right now. IWM maybe picking up. Maybe. Watch 222.20. Got my second job now. Can you stay longer, Matt? Oh, you're going to your second. I unfortunately cannot today. We have some, I just making some things work in the back end. Calls to take, emails to write, presentations to create, lots of things going on in these midday sessions. And honestly, if you look at the charts over the past like 2 or 3 months, the midday has been like just that sideways chop. So sometimes I think it's easier to like just take that break. But as always, if something crazy is about to happen, I'm going to come on early. But the schedule now is basically 9 to 11, 9 to 11:30, and then 2 to 4. And what it does is like, I really think that it helps me create better content, because if I'm streaming all day, you're on, like you're streaming, like I'm talking to you, and it doesn't really necessarily give me the time to dive into what I need, because like there's going to be a lot of dead air where I'm just like reading and comparing and studying and making phone calls to ask the people if my interpretations are right or wrong. So with the midday break, I really do believe that it helps me create better content and give you guys more information, because it gives me time to study and research, which I believe gives stronger content. Hey Matt, Jay Brown here from Twitter. I need you to bring awareness to CNBC trying to do a documentary on the community. We have Apes Together Strong Doc. This already. We need to continue to the support. Check out DM Love Passion. Shout out Jay Brown. So I saw the thing about the gambler on CNBC, which really didn't seem to be about AMC and Jimmy. But then in Melissa Lee's tweet, there is a another one, I guess like a special on AMC and Jimmy. And I don't know, maybe this is like I guess an unpopular opinion, but I still think that the more people that know about this story, the better. I don't know how it's going to be represented. In the world of CNBC, out of all the CNBC people we know about, if I were to rank them, I do think that out of all of those people, Melissa Lee had our back the most. Like when I start thinking about like Kramer and Sorkin and like just the other pundits that are on there, out of all of them, I do think that Melissa Lee had our back the most. But I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's going to be said. I thought like when I first heard about it a while ago, when she was like tweeting or talking about it, I thought it was like a special, and now she's like using this terminology of a documentary. With it, I have no idea. Like, I don't think I could say anything positive or negative about it, because I just don't know what it is. But what I can say is I am in full support of Apes Together Strong Doc. The fundraising for that ends either the 30th or October 1st. So let's just for safety's sake say that it's tomorrow. Once again, if you haven't seen them on Twitter, where is my Twitter page? Apes Together Strong. Let me find this right here. Right here. I've already shot my part with them. Trey has already shot their part with them. Many other people, like I have, I don't know what I can or can't say, but the list of people that they're going to have for this it's impressive. And if I can make one thing like crystal clear right now, yes, it obviously includes things about AMC and GME, but this isn't the story of AMC and GME squeeze. This is the story of what's happening real time right now. What are the crazy things that happen in the stock market that the public doesn't know about? They're basically trying to shine a light on the illicit, illegitimate, illegal, nefarious acts occurring in Wall Street right now, actively. I think it's a great project. I'm in full support of this project. Like I said, I'm in it. Trey's in it. We both filmed our parts. I believe, I don't know the exact dates, but I don't think it's going to come out till 2022. Like on maybe fingers crossed on the earlier side of 2022. I mean, it takes time to put this together. Like they're interviewing apes, they're interviewing people in Wall Street. They're trying to create the true story of like the current state of Wall Street. And I think that's an awesome project. So even that, like, I don't think this is in even competition with this, like in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just like completely missing something. But the CNBC thing that Melissa Lee's working on, that seems to be AMC and GME specific. And I don't know necessarily the route that they're taking with it. I don't know, but I think that comes out sooner. And then the Apes Together Strong Doc is 2022. So in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm misinterpreting something, but they seem wildly different. Thank you, bro. Much love. Jay Brown out. Shout out Jay Brown. What do you think about CEI? I think it's really strong. If you have a position, I would say ride the trend, but to me, it's a bit chasey to get in at this moment. I think the most recent entry was around $1.70-ish. Strike. Do you think a union strike in the film industry will affect AMC stock? It could, but like to me, that would be like way down the line because like from the film industry, AMC is like super far downstream. So maybe in the future, if there's like a lack of movies, but like I don't think it would affect it right away. But I'd have to look more into that strike. Is CEI a chase now? In my opinion, it is. But it's also like how much risk do you want to take? So the definition of like chasing is like it's a relative measure to like what you think the current risk is, and certain people take more risk, certain people take less risk. So it's kind of in the eyes of the beholder there. All right, let me wrap this up with the Ortex data one last time. I see some people asking for it. Okay, AMC, they borrowed $873,000. Short interest now above 21%, 21.03. GME, they borrowed 182%, and the short interest is they borrowed 182,000, and the short interest is 15%. So that's where we're at as of 11:20 Eastern on today, Wednesday, September 29th. That's where we're at. In midday session, I have some things to do, but I'm also going to dive a bit more into what they were talking about on Reddit of the additional evidence about the correspondence between Citadel and Robinhood. And then I also want to dive into what's happening with the debt ceiling and basically us. Are we defaulting on debt? Are we not defaulting on debt? Two important dates. One is tomorrow, midnight, government shutdown. The other thing is for the debt ceiling, the default, mid-October. I think it's around October 18th. Both of those things could have the ability to have a large impact on the overall market. And recently, we've been seeing the overall market swings clearly having an impact on some of our moon stocks, such as AMC and GME. Overall, thank you so much for the support this morning. I will be back at 2 p.m. Eastern. No matter what YouTube tells you, I will be live somewhere. They just are having a tough time with some of the, I guess, promoting it to whoever. But I'll be back 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for the support. And remember, from me and Cher, best of luck in the markets.